Assalamu alaikum, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen. I am once again with you for session number 23. We were discussing how strategic management principles and approaches can be used for knowledge management. मैं आपसे एक knowledge for sale का केस भी शेयर करना चाहूँगा. आज मैं उसकी कुछ थोड़ी सी तफसील भी आपको बताऊंगा और फिर मैं आपको इनवाइट करूंगा कि यू blend your own knowledge and experience and expertise and see how you see on the issue of knowledge for sale. And is it really there are some organizations which can use technology where the knowledge could be for sale? So you just wait until I read that case to you and explain to you how big that market is. It's a global market, but then we will look from the Pakistani perspective. तो आइए फिर सेशन 22 में हमने क्या लर्न किया था. मैंने 3 किस्म की बिजनेसेस के बारे में डिस्कस करने के बाद फिर आपसे शेयर किया था कि अब नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट के पर्सपेक्टिव में फिर आप किस किस्म की स्ट्रैटेजीज डेवलप करेंगे सो दैट यू कैन डेवलप competitive advantage, you can gain a unique edge in the market. हमने ये लर्न किया कि those 3 types of organizations, 3 types of businesses, may it be for profit, may it be for service, could be, कौन सी हैं भला, रिकॉल कीजिए. एक्सपर्ट ड्रिवन, एक्सपीरियंस ड्रिवन एंड एफिशिएंसी ड्रिवन. ठीक है. फिर हमने ये कहा कि अगर फर्ज कीजिए आप ग्रोथ स्ट्रैटेजी अडॉप्ट करना चाहते हैं. हमने 3 स्ट्रैटेजीज की बात की थी, स्टॉक, फ्लो एंड ग्रोथ. फर्ज कीजिए कंपनी ए डिसाइड करती है कि नहीं हमें ग्रोथ स्ट्रैटेजी को अडॉप्ट करना है. इसका मतलब यह है कि वो कंपनी, वो बिजनेस एक्सपर्ट ड्रिवन बिजनेस होगी. राइट. सो यू आर डिपेंडिंग फॉर द ग्रोथ ऑफ योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. यू आर काउंटिंग ऑन गेनिंग द यूनिक एडवांटेज इन द मार्केट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ इनोवेटिव कैपिटल एंड क्रिएटिविटी and innovations of your expert knowledge workers. टेलीकॉम सेक्टर में जरा एग्जांपल दीजिए उस कंपनी की कि जिसके इनोवेटिव प्रोडक्ट्स हर 6 महीने, 4 महीने, 3 महीने के बाद आपके हाथ में होते हैं. हां, और फिर मैं ये तो भूल ही गया कि वो कंपनी के जो इंटेलिजेंट गैजेट्स म्यूजिक के लिए, ऑडियो के लिए, वीडियो के लिए, और फिर मैंने देखा कि एक छोटा सा पैकेट, एक कह लीजिए कि एक 6 by 6 इंच का पैकेट, उसमें मदरबोर्ड भी है, उसमें प्रोसेसर भी है, उसमें सभी कुछ है. दिस इज एन इंटेलिजेंट कंपनी. थिंक ऑफ दैट कंपनी. What is its name? आई से शुरू होता है और उसके सारे प्रोडक्ट्स जो हैं वो आई के नाम से मार्केट के अंदर आ रहे हैं. कंपनी का नाम आई से शुरू नहीं होता, लेकिन उसके इंटेलिजेंट प्रोडक्ट, आई का मतलब इंटेलिजेंट, इंटेलिजेंट का मतलब नॉलेजफुल, नॉलेज बेस्ड, नॉलेज रिच, एंड बिलीव मी दे आर यूनिक प्रोडक्ट्स. स्मार्ट लुकिंग, स्मार्ट एक्टिविटीज, एंड डे बाय डे गेटिंग स्मॉलर. Anyhow, coming back to the growth strategy, we said, then you need those kind of experts. You're looking towards innovation. All right? What is the second type of strategy? Flow strategy. Flow strategy कहां adopt होगी? कहां successful होगी? बताइए. किस किस्म के environment में, किस किस्म की business में? My dear students, flow strategy, देखिए फ्लो का क्या मतलब है. द नॉलेज or the information will flow from A to B or from B to A. So in other words, you will develop a network, technology based network. In growth strategy में क्या है? Soft network, people based network, people talking to people, knowledge workers talking to knowledge workers. Flow strategy में hardware network, but networks are required, so experiences can flow from person A to person B, department A to department B, and this would be an experience driven business. तीसरी स्ट्रैटेजी कौन सी और तीसरी किस्म की ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस कौन सी होगी जिसमें वो स्ट्रैटेजी आपको अडॉप्ट करनी होगी? नहीं, देखिए, ये हार्ड एंड फास्ट को रूल नहीं है. हम आपको कुछ गाइडलाइन दे रहे हैं कि लुकिंग एट द कंपनी, लुकिंग एट द कल्चर, लुकिंग एट द पीपल, लुकिंग एट द टॉप मैनेजमेंट पर्सपेक्टिव, हम चाहते ये हैं कि आपका नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट का प्रोजेक्ट सक्सेसफुल हो. इट शुड एड वैल्यू to the product and the process and the profit of the company. तो फिर आपको भी थोड़ा स्मार्टली एनवायरमेंट को स्कैन करना होगा. तो फ्लो स्ट्रेटजी में हार्ड नेटवर्क्स. स्टॉक स्ट्रेटजी क्या थी? एफिशिएंसी ड्रिवन. यू ट्राई टू कलेक्ट ऑल द स्टॉक, स्टोर इट in the information bases or databases, and let it be available to anyone who needs it. You ask them to sit at the front end, maybe in the call center, give the answers. So efficiency driven, stock strategy. Experience driven businesses, flow strategy. और growth strategy, unique. और इसको डिस्कस करते हुए फिर मैंने आपसे ये शेयर किया कि ये जो इंफॉर्मेशन फ्लो है, नॉलेज एक्सचेंज है, ये कैसे ट्रांसफर किया जाए, पूल किया जाए, जनरेट किया जाए, so that we can have a unique advantage in the market. मैंने आपसे फिर वैल्यू एडिशन के पर्सपेक्टिव में कुछ नॉलेज एक्सचेंजेस की भी डिस्कशन की. प्रोडक्ट गोज आउट टू द कस्टमर, मनी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ ए फी, मनी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ ए करेंसी कम्स बैक. You give product as a value, customer gives you currency as a value. That's good enough. But then you look at his, remember I said, you look at his purchasing pattern, consuming pattern. You look at his choices, preferences, wants. And looking at his choices, preferences and wants, आपको जो फीडबैक उससे मिल रहा है या फीडबैक आप उससे ले रहे हैं या मार्केटिंग एग्जेक्टिव जो आपको फीडबैक दे रहे हैं, उसकी बेस पर आप उसको एक पर्सनलाइज सर्विस ऑफर करते हैं. और हमने ये कहा था कि जब ये पर्सनलाइज सर्विस उसको आप ऑफर करेंगे कि जी आप मंडे को ऑर्डर कीजिए, हम 10 दिन के बाद आपको आपकी पसंद की गाड़ी, आपके पसंद का मोटरसाइकिल डिलीवर कर देंगे. देखिए, हमारा जनरल मेन्यू तो ये है, लेकिन अगर आप कोई कस्टमाइज्ड मेन्यू चाहते हैं तो वो भी अवेलेबल किया जा सकता है. टेक अ लुक ऑन दैट फास्ट फूड रेस्टोरेंट इन योर सिटी. अभी मेरा ख्याल है कि शायद सिर्फ कराची, लाहौर, इस्लामाबाद में भी पेशावर. बट दैट इज अ फास्ट फूड restaurant where you go and you choose type of bread out of maybe 4, 5, 6 breads. जी आपकी सैंडविच में ब्रेड कौन सी होनी है, फिर मीट कौन सा होना है, वी गॉट 10 डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ मीट्स, फिर सैलड कौन सी होनी है. ईच एंड एवरी इंग्रेडिएंट इज एडेड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ योर पर्सनल चॉइस, राइट इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. पर्सनलाइज्ड ऑफरिंग्स स्ट्रेटजी है उनकी. अब इस स्ट्रेटजी की बुनियाद पर वो दे आर मेकिंग अ बिग बिजनेस ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड. सो माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, नो हाउ हैज टू बी ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड इनटू प्रोसेस. सो यू कैन हैव अ लॉन्ग टर्म बिजनेस, बट दिस मीन्स इंफॉर्मेशन एक्सचेंजेस, knowledge exchanges You must be very careful about them. और उसी पर्सपेक्टिव में फिर हमने कहा था कि फिर सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, थोड़ा सा ब्रीफली मैं उसको आज टच करूंगा, एंड आई विल लीव इट टू यू दैट यू ट्राई टू सी. इट्स अ फुल फ्लेज एरिया नाउ. Master degrees are being offered in supply chain management. That how you're going to bring all these stakeholders by using technology, sharing information, so that each and every actor should add value to each and every operation. Everybody is satisfied. Remember, एक वक्त में हमने कहा था कि if you want to serve the commercial market successfully, you got to develop your competency market. और हमने लास्ट सेशन में फिर कोर कॉम्पिटेंसीज की बात की थी, इसलिए कि प्रोफेसर माइकल पोर्टर, एंड नाउ प्रोफेसर माइकल पोर्टर इज कमिंग टू पाकिस्तान टू डिलीवर द लेक्चर्स. हैव यू हर्ड दैट? ही इज एंड मेनी अदर प्रोफेसर्स by using technology, not physical presence. That's e-learning. Somebody is there, he's sharing his experience, he's sharing his knowledge, and you are there to pay him off. Service charge. That is the kind of time has come. And especially when we were looking at the organizational school of thought, I will share even more the kind of knowledge which a person has. The time has come in 21st century that there is a market. Find out who your customers are. So coming back to supply chain and customer relation, the knowledge exchanges are actually out there in the pipes of the technology. How you can exploit this to gain the unique advantage for your company, that is the kind of strategy you have to see. And choose which one out of these three, depending upon the type of business you are, you would like to use for your company, or give the idea for your company so you stay in business. And when you stay in business, company is in business, customers are in business, everybody is happy. That means knowledge is in action. And when knowledge is in action, you see the performance. Supply chain management and how knowledge exchanges is adding value to supply chain. It means you would like to have the right product in the right place, at the right time, at the right price, in the right condition. और कीजिए जरा, सारे एक्टर्स को आपने, सारी एंटिटीज को आपने इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी से कनेक्ट करके, each one knows where the incoming material is, what's the production line planning and schedule, when it is going out, when I will be receiving, when it is received, when the after sale person is coming, when the payment will be made, when the accounting people will receive, when they will send the receipt, how much order has come, and HR resources, everybody is sharing the same information. So you have the right product at the right time, in the right place, at the right price, and in the right condition. In other words, you are going to collaborate your information and knowledge with so many people. So it is collaboration, it is knowledge sharing of logistics, and it is consensus among knowledge workers and suppliers. देखिए ना, प्रोक्योरमेंट के पर्सपेक्टिव में, परचेजिंग के पर्सपेक्टिव में, रॉ मटेरियल्स के पर्सपेक्टिव में, negotiation for a very little difference or reduction in price can lead to millions of dollars savings just in purchasing the raw material at the cheaper price. Quality raw material, but through bargaining, through knowledge sharing. Bargaining क्या होती है? Bargaining भी तो information sharing, data sharing, knowledge sharing होती है. So goal of supply chain management is improving the efficiency and profitability. So देखिए, अगर आप efficiency driven business है, जरूरी नहीं कि सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट के कॉन्सेप्ट इंप्लीमेंट हो रहे हो या हो सकते हो. यहां फोकस क्या होगा सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट के पर्सपेक्टिव में? एफिशिएंसी. तो जब एफिशिएंसी की ड्रिवन, एफिशिएंसी ड्रिवन बिजनेस है, तो आप मुझे बताइए कि फिर कौन सी स्ट्रेटजी ज्यादा सूट करेगी यहां पर? स्टॉक स्ट्रेटजी. Of course, the stock could be zero. But stock zero means just in time. Remember, I used to say, all right, we need 200 tires. The tires will come in, inbound logistics. What time? 5 o'clock. They are in, they are going out, outbound logistics, and the dealers know they will be receiving it at 6 o'clock. Efficiency. Supply chain management employs powerful tools to allow companies to exchange and update their information. Even the airline companies which make the airliners, the companies which make the aeroplanes. और देखिए, एक एरोप्लेन बनाने के लिए, let's say it has been ordered by a company ABC. The company, through the intranet and through the extranet, of course it will be extranet for the outside customers and suppliers, gives them all the last minute permissions that they can make changes in the design. Design of interior, design of exterior, design of motors, design of software, gadgets, you name it. एक जहाज बनाने के लिए तो there are thousands and thousands of components and thousands of changes, rather millions of changes maybe. Let's come and talk briefly on the customer relationship management. ये दो areas इसलिए मैं knowledge management के साथ attach कर रहा हूं. Both of them, they work on the basis of information about customer or about supplier. CRM का goal क्या है? The goal is to enhance the relationship with customers and relationship with supply chain partners. A business strategy to learn more about customers' needs and customers' behavior to develop stronger relationship with them. Remember वो जो मैंने आपको knowledge exchange की एक slide दिखाई थी? You're sending a product to the customer. He's sending you the money. One time exchange, it's over. But now, if you want to have a sustainable, देखिए strategic focus तो यही है कि sustainable business, then you bring in the CRM. All right, then over a period of time, you would like to learn, learning आ गई ना? You would like to learn more about his needs, more about his wants, more about his behaviors. And then accordingly, you offer him, you develop a stronger relationship. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि CRM के अंदर एनालिटिकल कंपोनेंट जो है, और एनालिसिस लीड्स टू इंटेलिजेंस. एनालिसिस एंड इंटेलिजेंस बोथ हैज अ बिल्ट इन कंपोनेंट ऑफ नॉलेज. किसका नॉलेज? आपका, मैनेजर का, वर्कर का. इट अलाउज कैप्चर ऑफ ए वेरी लार्ज वॉल्यूम ऑफ डाटा and then transform it into analysis format to support enterprise-wide analytical requirements. इसमें आप मार्केटिंग पर्सनल को भी इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं, प्रोडक्शन पर्सनल को भी इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं. He can also look at the and analyze the customer's data, customer's needs and wants, and you can deploy this knowledge which you're getting from the customer's data and information through an integrated system, and you will make quickly enable by processing that information and the intelligence gathered from the analytical environment. You segregate the segments of your customers, you segregate the behaviors of your customers, you segregate them on the basis of age, on the basis of gender, on the basis of income, you name it. Maybe what is required more on weekend as compared to the weekdays. Maybe what is required in the morning as compared to in the evening. So many ways of looking analytically the data which is generated by the customers. It's a typical CRM network. Customers talking to you, the call center. Customers purchasing, placing an order and purchasing goods and customers, goods and services from the company. And all of this data is being stored in the databases. That's why when you speak of data warehouses and data mining, which is the technical part of knowledge management, remember we said in this course we are going to look at the business aspect. We'll talk about knowledge management applications, but our focus in this course is how we can develop an advantage on the basis of analysis and intelligence which we gather, which the managers will gather from the data provided by the customers, by the suppliers. Knowledge workers will be the most important player to develop the profitability, to make the company more sustainable, and to make the company more gaining a unique advantage in a globalized world. So of course, technology has to play a role. So CRM and supply chain management cannot work. That's why we are saying these are knowledge management applications without information and communication technology. Data warehousing and data mining is a knowledge management application. Knowledge creating system and knowledge sharing systems are knowledge management applications. And some of you who are software engineers, they should look into it. How can you develop these applications? But certainly, database would be a component of it. So my dear students, now coming to the end of the strategic school of thought, question is, which strategy are you going to adapt to gain the unique advantage? Stock versus flow versus growth, experience versus expertise versus efficiency. Keeping in mind, what is the perspective of the top management? Remember we said IT culture versus information. So when you consider all this, that you're looking towards knowledge from the long-term perspective. And let me share with you now then, before I go to the next slide and look at the third school of thought, which is the organizational school of thought, let me share with you this case. I call it knowledge for sale. You kindly listen, read, think, discuss, and use your knowledge and expertise to come up maybe with strategies. Strategies for sale of knowledge in Pakistan, if you like to enter into this business. So are you ready? Let me read this case to you. You may think of it as an assignment, or maybe you can think of it as a case to discuss among your colleagues, or maybe with your tutor. Think about it and see what data would you like to get. And let me mention here, the data is already available from Government of Pakistan. All sorts of data. Data on secondary schools, data on inter and degree colleges, data on universities, data on vocational schools, data on teachers, data on students, data on public sector, private sector, villages, rural, urban, you name it. And you have the latest data. You generate your information, read what I'm mentioning to you, that how you can use e-learning platform to present knowledge for sale. Can it work in Pakistan? Well, if it is generating billions of dollars out there, why can't it be done in Pakistan? And can you be one of those knowledge provider? At a local level, as an entrepreneur, see how technology can be harnessed. And speaking of the data, please take a look on National Education Census data, the Government of Pakistan. You will find the latest data of 2005. NEC, National Education Census, www.nec, National Education Census.gov.pk. You will find all this information listed on that website. Public and private colleges and universities in United States, they comprise a $200 billion industry where knowledge is for sale. Throughout the 20th century, these institutions had difficulty achieving economy of scale. The number of students served by an individual faculty member across the school averaged 20 to 1 per class, a ratio which enforced by size limitations of classrooms, faculty resistance to grading large number of tests and papers, and the desire for smaller classes and individualization of learning on the part of students and parents. To achieve competitive advantage, institutions pursued various strategies, including hire famous faculty as an inducement for student enrollment, pouring resources into high-interest fields like computer science, cancelling low-interest programs like Latin and political science, scheduling classes at time and places conducive to student life, farming alumni resources more odiously, more carefully, and maximizing college name recognition and reputation through nationally ranked sports teams. Due to the pervasive tenure system, which is there in the United States universities, most colleges and universities do not have the option of right sizing. This means it has occurred to such schools that the only practical way of significantly increasing the per student load of each faculty member and thereby increasing the system productivity was to broadcast the image, voice, and learning material of the instructor to a broader audience. Remember, we're talking of efficiency. All right, let's then enter into e-learning. With the combined technologies of the internet, email, and video teleconferencing, educational institutions are able to enroll exponentially in the United States more students at home or at remote sites without increasing the number of faculty members. Additional grading responsibilities involved in e-learning can be delegated to graduate assistants, working at not much more a minimum wage. Famous and popular faculty members can be given large electronic audiences, thereby maximizing their influence on behalf of the institution. Less successful teachers could be confined to traditional face-to-face instruction, thereby minimizing their impact on the rapport and welfare of the institution. Now, what we're talking here is that you bring in those faculty members who are of a lower value in eyes of the students, face-to-face in the classroom. And those teachers who are of a higher rapport, you present them through video conferencing and email and internet, the way virtual university is doing. It's an e-learning example. All right? If that's the case, then this case asks you, my dear students, to explore and extrapolate the implications of e-learning for the design and working of colleges and universities of the future. It's a knowledge management case. Think of a design for the colleges and universities of the future. As knowledge is managed in new way, dramatic changes may be in store for these institutions. In your speculation, and we are asking you, in your speculation, consider the following: physical requirement of the new campus, instructor qualifications, including preparation for e-learning, viability of traditional courses, traditional majors, and traditional degrees, interactive versus canned instruction. For example, would you prefer, and please listen, would you prefer to learn from Professor X interactively, or maybe from Professor Einstein via videotape? Think of it. That is your choice. The next point to consider is the loss of unmeasurables with the traditional face-to-face classroom is superseded electronically. Compensation and career paths for faculty. Think of it. What would happen for the career path of the faculty member? Will research be of less importance as a faculty member will be more and more plays the role of an anchor person? What would happen to the research then? Links with or mergers with corporations. Will or should corporate universities swallow up public and private institutions? Because corporate universities are the one where you put knowledge in action. Is e-learning more appropriate for some subjects than others, or for some type of students? So I request you and ask you that you attempt to draw together your speculation. Remember, this is speculation, this is forecast, into a design for future knowledge management useful for present institutions of higher learning. So the present institutions of higher learning, how they can manage knowledge and what kind of strategies should they use. Should they focus on stock strategy? Should they focus on growth strategy? Should they focus on flow strategy? Or should they mix them up? Think of it, that how the public sector universities would merge with the corporate universities. What is your speculation? And especially when you combine the data which you see from the National Education Census, and if you like me to share with you, let me give you one tip. According to the 2005 census, the data is there are 9.4 million secondary school students. And my dear students, out of 9.4 million, only 0.7 million goes to interclass. Huge market. No e-learning. Virtual universities offering e-learning programs, the bachelor and master level. I'm giving you the data of secondary school, 9वीं 10वीं, matric. 9.4 million students. More than 25,000 schools, rural and urban. But look at the interclass, 11th and 12th, maybe ICS, maybe ICOM, maybe general science, at least where you don't require a laboratory of like physics, chemistry. You don't need a laboratory in ICS or general science or maybe in ICOM. From 9.4 million students, only 0.7 million are coming in colleges. Or colleges kitne hain? Only 1,800. All over Pakistan. All over Pakistan. Huge market. But the question is, what strategy can you use as an entrepreneur to come up with a content to be delivered through e-learning? And then, which professor would you use? Remember, the students would like to listen to Professor Einstein. Physics की बात कर रहे हैं ना हम. तो फिजिक्स क्या स्टूडेंट पसंद करेंगे प्रोफेसर आइंस्टाइन से सुनना वीडियो टेप के जरिए से या टेलीविजन के जरिए से या प्रोफेसर एक्स जो आपको कंटेंट प्रोवाइड कर रहा है? और फिर उस प्रोफेसर की रेपो कैसे ये interactively, how are you going to capture the market? Because certainly you are providing knowledge. Knowledge is, as the case says, for sale. And it's a $200 billion market only in United States. And since we are learning this knowledge management for profit, not for profit, for service. Maybe you want to do as an entrepreneur for service. Service of a particular area, maybe a village. Maybe few villages taken together, you come up with an e-learning delivery system, wireless connectivity, ICOM students taken content at the 11th and 12th grade. But think of the market size and think of the need in the market. एक अच्छा बिजनेस केस है, अकेले भी डिस्कस कीजिए, अपने कुलीग्स के साथ भी डिस्कस कीजिए, and maybe 2-3 people can come up together and develop an e-learning platform at the local level. इसलिए कि मार्केट में ये गैप तो है, इस गैप को किसी न किसी ने तो फिल करना है, आज नहीं तो कल ये गैप तो फिल हो जाएगा. Please keep in mind, at the secondary school and inter level, there is no e-learning platform presently available. Opportunity to be exploited. Third school of thought, my dear students. देखिए, जब तक प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम्पल आपको मोटिवेट करने के लिए ना आए तो फिर तो ये थ्योरी रहेगी ना, और फिर खास तौर पर अगर ये बिजनेस केस ना बन सके. तो आइए फिर थर्ड स्कूल ऑफ थॉट को देखते हैं, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल स्कूल. हाउ डज दिस स्कूल ट्राई टू सी टुवर्ड्स नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट एंड हु आर द मेन प्लेयर्स? बट लेट मी द आउटसेट mention to you, this is a school of thought which is basically known as Eastern. Remember economic school of thought? I said mostly it was developed in Europe. आप American मैनेजमेंट स्पेशलिस्ट की किताबें देख लीजिए, आपको बहुत कम केवीए की मेथोडोलॉजी नजर आएगी या इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपिटल के मेजरमेंट्स के वो पर्सपेक्टिव्स नजर आएंगे जो आपको स्कैंडिया या स्वीबी के टूल्स के अंदर नजर आती हैं. हाँ, बैलेंस स्कोर कार्ड है, बट इट्स विद अ डिफरेंट टच. Strategic school of thought, as I mentioned, was developed in the United States. Now we are coming to the organizational school of thought, Eastern or the Japanese. And that is where I will bring up the name of Professor Nonaka. You just wait. I like him very much. I've seen his books and articles. I met him, and I think it's more natural. This is my school of thought. This school of thought is where you consider that organization is not only an information processing machine. Input from the customers, input from the employees, input from the regulators, input from the bankers, input from the government, all data processed to generate the information, you make certain decisions. Organization is not only an information processing machine. Well, it's an entity which creates knowledge continuously through action. Knowledge placed in action. And when knowledge is in action, profit is there, but new knowledge is generated. This school of thought believes. Knowledge is created through action. Knowledge is created through interaction with its environment and with its people. This is the approach of this school of thought. More natural, more ecological. Well, but even then, when we look at this school of thought, this means the organizations, business organization or public sector organizations, they create and define problems. They develop and apply knowledge to solve those problems. In organizations, they create and define problem. कि मार्केट की ये रिक्वायरमेंट है, दे डिफाइन ए प्रॉब्लम, दे क्रिएट ए प्रोडक्ट, दे सॉल्व दैट प्रॉब्लम, एंड देन दे फर्दर जनरेट न्यू नॉलेज थ्रू द एक्शन ऑफ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग. मार्केट की ये नीड है, कस्टमर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट है, ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ने उस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व किया, वो प्रोडक्ट मार्केट के अंदर दे दिया, एंड दे गॉट मनी, एवरीबॉडी इज हैप्पी. नाउ द कस्टमर्स हैव चेंज्ड देयर रिक्वायरमेंट्स. Organization will solve that problem, generate new knowledge, put that knowledge into action, come up with the product or service, deliver to the customer, get in return their value. As the time changes, देखिए एक वक्त था, people used to listen to radio. Almost everybody. For music, for news, for entertainment, you name it. Then came television. From the same market, people moved to the television. Then came internet. And then has come telecom. Now think of it. How many customers asked mobile phone companies to give them camera? They gave camera. Now camera was a different sector. Phone was a different sector. They merged together. So a problem was defined, it was solved, it was delivered. New knowledge was generated. कि जी लेंस की टेक्नोलॉजी ऑडियो की टेक्नोलॉजी से कैसे मैच की जाए, और वो टेक्नोलॉजी जिसको हम कहा करते थे एम्स की टेक्नोलॉजी, एनालॉग, फिर जीएसएम की टेक्नोलॉजी, और फिर उसके अंदर और इसकी सारी वेरिएशंस, मैं उस तफसील में जाना नहीं चाहता हूं, लेकिन मेरा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ये है कि इमेज टेकिंग एंड ऑडियो टेक्नोलॉजी गॉट टुगेदर. नाउ here comes the MP3 or MP4 audio technology for music playing. And once again, here comes the mobile phone. New problem solved by the organization, new knowledge is generated. So organization school of thought का कहना यह है कि organizations are knowledge creating, knowledge generating entities. They should be like that. अच्छा, अगर ये knowledge creating entities हैं, इसका मतलब तो फिर ये होगा कि you have to put heavy emphasis on किस पर? Not on computer, not on technology, not on the infrastructure, not on the land, but on knowledge worker. They are the one who are innovative. They are the one who are creative. Anyhow, so this means value of knowledge management does not depend on the knowledge then, or not on technology, but it is on the use of knowledge by the members of the organization. ये क्या बात हुई कि हम बात कर रहे थे नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट की और ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल स्कूल ऑफ थॉट की, लेकिन ऑल ऑफ ए सडन हम कह रहे हैं कि नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट की वैल्यू नॉलेज पर डिपेंड नहीं करती, इसलिए कि देखिए ना, पाइपलाइन के अंदर पानी मौजूद है, उस पानी का कोई फायदा नहीं है, और फिर पाइपलाइन के अंदर पानी भी मौजूद है, फ्लो भी कर रहा है, लेकिन वो फ्लो मेरे काम ही नहीं आ रहा जब तक वो नॉलेज और वो नॉलेज एक्शन में आकर वो मेरा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं करता, और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के मेंबर वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं करते, मार्केट उसको प्रॉफिट नहीं देगी. So organizational school of thought says that the use of knowledge by the organization member is a prerequisite. यहां पर भी फिर ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल स्कूल ऑफ थॉट के अंदर भी दो पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज आ गए. प्रोफेसर थॉमस डेवनपोर्ट एंड लैरी प्रोसेक. प्रोफेसर डेवनपोर्ट, रिमेंबर इसका नाम मैंने पहले भी लिया था, एट बेप्सन कॉलेज विद एन IT बैकग्राउंड, एंड वंस अगेन एन अमेरिकन टच. गेट इट, get the knowledge, store it, make it property of the organization. देखिए ये कल्चर डिपेंडेंट है, कल्चर की बात हम करेंगे बाद में, इसलिए कि जब ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को आप एक लाइफ के तौर पे देख रहे हैं, एक अलाइव एंटिटी के तौर पे देख रहे हैं, इसमें लोग बसते हैं, इसमें लोग नॉलेज क्रिएट करते हैं, तो फिर गेटिंग देम आउट एंड asking them to deliver everything and storing it for my advantage, ये वो एक अप्रोच है कि जो आप ये कह सकते हैं कि इट इज ओनली सूटेबल फॉर एक्सप्लिसिट टाइप. आपको नॉलेज मिलेगा तो आप उसको स्टोर करेंगे ना, लेकिन मैं नॉलेज अगर देता ही नहीं तो फिर कैसे होगा. डेवनपोर्ट भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल स्कूल ऑफ थॉट को सपोर्ट करते हैं. कम से कम इनकी जो लेटेस्ट किताब 2006 में आई है, थिंकिंग फॉर लिविंग, that supports this idea. Originally, this idea was given by Professor Nonaka. So, Professor Davenport's message is, get the knowledge, make it explicit. Professor Nonaka's message is, knowledge is created by knowers, by knowledge workers. And it has two dimensions, epistemological dimension and ontological dimension. परेशान ना होइएगा इन दो लफ्जों से, ये फिलॉसफी से. देखिए जब आप नॉलेज की बात करते हैं तो वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ डिसिप्लिन ऑफ फिलॉसफी. ये दो लफ्ज फिलॉसफी से आ रहे हैं, मैं भी एक्सप्लेन करता हूं इन्हें, लेकिन प्रोफेसर नुनाका का कहना यह है कि इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट नॉलेज, देन नॉलेज मस्ट बी क्रिएटेड, नॉलेज मस्ट बी जनरेटेड, नॉलेज मस्ट बी शेयर्ड, नॉलेज मस्ट बी पूल्ड, नॉलेज मस्ट बी अप्लाइड. बाय whom? By the knowledge worker. That's why he brings in epistemological and ontological dimension and convergence of knowledge. What does that mean? Epistemological means it involves at least two types of knowledge, tacit and explicit. Ontological dimensions का मतलब ये है कि ये tacit और explicit knowledge किसका है? इंडिविजुअल का है या ग्रुप ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स का है या मेनी ग्रुप्स ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स? ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में देखिए ना कई ग्रुप्स होते हैं, ये मार्केटिंग ग्रुप है, ये इंजीनियरिंग ग्रुप है, ये डिजाइन ग्रुप है, ये IT ग्रुप है, फाइनेंस ग्रुप है, अकाउंटिंग ग्रुप है, प्लानिंग ग्रुप है, मेनी ग्रुप्स. तो इंडिविजुअल, वन ग्रुप, मेनी ग्रुप्स, एंड इंटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल मर्जर्स एंड एक्विजिशन, एक्वायरिंग द नॉलेज. इसलिए कि मर्जर और एक्विजिशन के अंदर यू आर बेसिकली एक्वायरिंग नॉलेज of a second company so that you can have a unique advantage in the organization. So according to Professor Nonaka then, creating knowledge, his message, he thinks organization is a knowledge creating company. And that is the book which he has written. I'll talk about that in a minute. Organization is full of life. Organization is looking at the market, defining the problem, coming up with the solution, providing the solution or service or product, in return getting the money, bringing the new need, bringing the new want, coming up with the new knowledge. So knowledge is created which is suitable for both explicit and tacit and implicit, and the organization addresses directly to the issues of creation. गोया ये तो नई बात आ गई ना कि हम ये देख रहे हैं कि बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, पब्लिक सेक्टर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, यूनिवर्सिटीज, हॉस्पिटल्स, wherever you will find the knowledge workers, consulting companies, IT companies, anywhere where the knowledge is in action. According to Professor Nonaka, then you consider this organization as a knowledge creating company. In other words, if you want to create or generate knowledge, what are the choices? Well, in terms of knowledge generation, most authors in the West, mostly Americans, they like Davenport and Prusak's emphasis on increasing the explicit stock so that we can be efficiently driven. Remember we talked about efficiency driven business? So we can have the stock of explicit knowledge, we can store it, we can collect it, we can store it, and we can deliver wherever it is required. That is why they would like to own this explicit stock through one of the following methods. यानी हम knowledge generate करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन Western approach, either by acquiring it, that you buy, for example, one of the groupware, one of the browsers, you borrow it, you steal it. Because somebody says, my design of the operating system has been stolen by company X. And that's a question to be resolved of the intellectual property. So either you acquire explicit knowledge or you rent explicit knowledge. Remember जब हम economic school of thought की बात कर रहे थे, तो हम यही कहना चाह रहे थे, this knowledge is there to be delivered and you get the rent, revenue stream, you get the rent. So, for example, university-industry relationship, that's a renting approach. Industry gives a problem, university professor solves it, they give them back the solution, they charge the rent for infrastructure, they charge the rent for services, they charge the rent for equipment, and they charge the rent for the people involved. Consultants, same thing. तीसरा choice क्या है? Explicit knowledge को generate करने के लिए, according to Professor Davenport, you dedicate resources, R&D resources. खासतौर पे pharmaceutical companies के अंदर, upfront, you invest millions of rupees to generate a drug. Now this drug has a full of, this drug which has been generated, it is after spending of 10-15 million rupees. Research and development. Or you adapt, or you develop a network to acquire the knowledge. But as I said, this is knowledge generation, Western point of view, that you can acquire, you can rent, you can dedicate, you can adopt. But Professor Nonaka's school, his thought, his way of putting things together, after 15 years of research in many companies of Japan, he gave this model, he called it Seiki model. He has a website, please take a look, www.nonaka.com, and knowledge creation model presented by Professor Nonaka is called Seiki model. The Seiki model asks for the use of organizational structure and networks that they should share and pool the knowledge. These networks, soft networks, or the knowledge communities, they are a group of people with common interests or common problem or common experience. These communities are designed and maintained for business purpose. They can be within the company, intra-organizational or inter-organizational. So in other words, Nonaka's model of knowledge creation, to begin with, is based on Seiki model. But it is very comprehensive. According to Professor Nonaka, Seiki is only one part. So we would like to take a look in detail. What is Seiki model? What is Seiki process? How the conversion of your tacit and explicit knowledge helps you to create new knowledge. How the tacit and explicit knowledge of the organizations are converted and interconverted to create new products. But Professor Nonaka says knowledge cannot be separated from the context. Eastern approach, Japanese approach towards knowledge is very comprehensive. The knowledge is attached with the context. The knowledge is with a background. When you say red color, and I would like to end today's session by just sharing this example with you. When you say red color may be a sign of energy and vitality in one country. Red color may be a sign of danger in another country. See how knowledge in context has a different meaning. That is what Professor Nonaka says. You must understand how it is converted, where it is shared, and what are the knowledge assets. So in the next session then, we would like to take a look on the Nonaka's model of knowledge creation, which has three components or three elements. First of this, which is very important and well known all over the world, is known as Seiki process or Seiki model. That is what he has presented in his knowledge creating company book, which he wrote in 1995, and many articles which he published in Harvard Business Review. So my dear students, ladies and gentlemen, my dear knowledge workers, my dear knowledge professionals, I'm making you more encouraged, I'm making you more curiful, I'm making you more motivated, I'm making you more inspired that let's use knowledge to bring life, let's use knowledge to create new knowledge. So you be in business, your company be in business, and your customers are happy. Thank you very much for listening. And with this note, let me say goodbye to you, and I'll see you inshallah in the next session, and until then, Khuda Hafiz.